Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here, so it's time for another Transformers movie review, and today guys, it's time to review, this will be the last movie we'll be reviewing in the Transformers series, which is actually not part of Michael Bay's movies. This time it's another live-action remake, which is known as Bumblebee. So yeah, now this movie was released in 2018 and directed by Travis Knight, so yeah, now. And today, guys, I'm not alone today because joining me for the last time, unfortunately, is my very good friend X-Blaze, who'll be reviewing the movie with me. So, yeah, going to let him say his thoughts first. And if you want to, guys, please go subscribe to his channel. I'll put the links in the description below to go check out his channel. So, yeah. Anyway, take it away, X-Blaze.
Hello, everybody, and thank you, Lucamus, for inviting me for our last and the final Transformers review. So, here is my pros and cons about Bumblebee. Let's do this. Okay, first pro, better CGI. This CGI is way better than The Last Night. It actually feels like, Transformers. It doesn't feel like some crappy The Last Night animation. Another pro I have, Optimus Prime. I really like his G1 form, but I think the Bay one is actually a little bit better in my opinion. Especially before Age of Extinction. That one was really good. Another one, Charlie. She's the only decent protagonist in these shows, in this movie. Yeah, that's really cool though. Alright, another pro. Less humans, more Transformers. Yeah, you won't believe that there's really low humans in this movie. And yeah, Blitzwing. Oh god. He's a cool Decepticon, but he died really fast. Another pro, Shatter and Dropkick. Oh, they were really cool. I'll tell you that. I really feel that they could have had a different thingy, what's it called, design a little bit, but I think they were really good. Another pro, very funny scenes. Yeah, that was really cool. Like the one where Bumblebee literally crashes someone's car by stomping on it, putting eggs on it. That was really funny. Another pro, Bumblebee chooses his Transformers 1 car. Yeah, it's really cool, guys. I can't believe they actually did this, and it's really cool. I think they did a good job with this. Alright, and on to my cons now. I have none! Alright, so here's my review, and thank you, Lucamus, for being able to in this series, and see you.
Alright, so it's my turn to this movie, so yeah, now. So guys, right off the bat, I'm going to immediately say that without a single doubt, this is my favourite Transformers movie of all time. I really, really love this movie. It's so phenomenal in every way. This is the movie we should have got from the beginning, really, Michael Bay's movies were not perfect at all. This movie, however, was a perfect movie. I loved it so much. So what is this movie about? So this movie is, of course, not part of Michael Bay's universe. It's in a different universe of Transformers, much different, and it takes place in the 1980s compared to the present-day settings. So, yeah, now. So, a quick synopsis is, on the run in the year 1987, Bumblebee finds refuge in a junkyard at a small California beach town. On the cusp of turning 18 and trying to find a place in the world, Charlie Watson discovers Bumblebee, battle-scarred and broken. So that is a summary of the movie, guys. So, yeah, now, let's talk about a good quality of the movie first. So, as with, the live-action movies by Michael Bay, this is definitely another example of a movie with a great voice cast. For example, Peter Cullen, my favourite voice actor of all time, reprised his role as Optimus Prime, and he does a great job voicing Prime in this movie. I think I like his voice the most in this movie, actually, guys. I just love his voice in this movie. He sounds so great in the role here. So, yeah. And I also love as well how Bumblebee had a voice by Dylan O'Brien. He's easily my favourite live-action voice of Bumblebee. You know, I really loved his voice of Bumblebee. He was very good in the role. And yeah. And the other Autobots do also have lines. For example, another Autobot who appears in one scene is Cliffjumper, voiced by Andrew Morgado. He was very good with what he was given as Cliffjumper, even though something bad happens to Cliffjumper, guys. But yeah, he was really good. But yeah, my favourite Cliffjumper will always be, you know, Casey Kasem from G1, rest in peace, and Dwayne Johnson from Transformers Prime's series premiere. We also got cameo appearances by other Autobots as well. For example, we got RC, who is actually voiced by Grey Griffin, guys, and she, alongside Peter Cullen, are the only voice actresses they're the only cast members to reprise their roles from the Michael Bay movies, because she was in Avenger Fallen, and Peter Cullen was, of course, in all 5 movies. So yeah. We've got an appearance by Wheelerjack, who is voiced by Steve Blum. And he did a very good impression of a G1 voice, you know, Chris Latta. Pretty good impression, even though he only had one line like RC did. And Kirk Bailey also voiced Brawn as well, an Autobot Commando, in only one line. But yeah, he was still very good as him, in non-bulleted part, but only having one line. And he also had a cameo as one of the Decepticon on Seekers in the opening scene as well, which was pretty nice. And we also got Ratchet, who is voiced by Dennis Singletary. He was very good, and yeah. Now, I can tolerate the cast of the Transformers having different voices to the Michael Bay movies because this is a different universe, guys. So yeah, I was anticipating that I'd have a different voice, and many of them certainly did. And yeah, so the voice cast for the Autobots I did love, and yeah. And we also got cameo appearances by other Transformers, but they didn't speak. For example, we got a cameo appearance by Ironhide based on how he's in G1, and also Starscream and Skywalker and Thundercracker, and also Thrust as well. So yeah, and when it comes to the Decepticons, I really loved the 2 main antagonists of the movie, which were Shatter and Dropkick, you know, who are voiced by Angela Bassett and Justin Theroux. Like, Shatter is, you know, a great Decepticon, and one of my favourite female Transformers of all time, because she was so menacing, and Angela Bassett really nailed it. But it's probably my favourite, you know, voice role of Angela Bassett. My favourite action role of her is probably Queen Ramonda in the MCU, but yeah, she was still really phenomenal as the voice of Shatter. And Justin Theroux was also really amazing as Dropkick. You know, he sounded pretty menacing, and yeah, he was really cool. And yeah, I really love their designs, and I also love the addition of David Sobolov as Blitzwing, a Decepticon Seeker, who fights Bumblebee at the start of the movie. He had a very good voice for a role, and yeah, it's one of my all-time favourite roles of David Sobolov of all time, guys. He's really great in the role of Blitzwing. And yeah, and I also love the appearance of Soundwave as well, guys, who appeared in a couple of scenes in both the opening and later on in the movie. And also Shockwave, and they were both based on the appear in G1, guys, and they're both voiced by John Bailey, who you may know as the YouTuber called Epic Voice Guy, who does the Honest Trailers. Yeah, he voiced both Shockwave and Soundwave, so yeah. This wouldn't be the only time that he voiced Transformers, guys, because if you guys watch a show called Transformers Combiner Wars, in the first part of, you know, that trilogy, the Combiner trilogy, he voiced Optimus in the first part of the trilogy, before Peter Cullen returned in the second and third parts of it, so yeah. I don't know if he's voiced other Transformers, but he also voiced characters a lot in Heishi as well, yeah. It's cool how in the Heishi version of this movie, he voiced not just Soundwave and Shockwave, but also voiced Optimus and Megatron and several other characters as well in that Heishi, which was pretty awesome. And yeah. And his voice for them was such a spot-on impression of both Frank Welker as Soundwave and Corey Burton as Shockwave. Spot-on impressions right there. It was also nice to see Ravage as well make an appearance as well. That was really awesome. And seeing him come out of Soundwave when he says Ravage eject, you know, that was really awesome. Yeah, Ravage's design looked amazing, and yeah. So I love the Transformers in a movie, guys, so yeah. Another great thing about a movie, in my opinion, is definitely the human cast, because, you know, the humans were so great, in my opinion, you know, and, for example, the biggest highlight of the movie is definitely Charlie Watson, the main human protagonist, who is played by Haley Steinfeld. He's on the role of Haley Steinfeld, guys, and yeah, you know, and Charlie, in my opinion, is the most likeable human protagonist I've ever seen in a Transformers movie. Like, she's way better than Sam, way better, she's even better than Cade, even though I do like Cade compared to Sam. So, yeah. She's also way better than any of the female characters from the Michael Bay movies, like, you know, like Michaela and Carly, and especially compared to Tessa, who I do hate, so yeah. So yeah, she really nailed the role, guys, and plus, her story is also so relatable as well, you know, how she's lost someone that she loved being her father, and she can't move on. That is so relatable, to be honest, you know, and that's why, you know, I really appreciate her as a character. Like, she feels so realistic. And yeah. Also as well, I did also love John Cena as Agent Burns, who is part of Sector 7, so yeah. And before I saw the Suicide Squad movie, guys, this was definitely my favourite role of him in live action as Burns. You know, he was so good in the role. Yeah. And definitely a way more likeable character compared to, you know, Bayformers characters as well. Like, he's probably my favourite, like, army-related character because I liked him more than Lennox, to be honest. So yeah, he was really great. Definitely great contender to Epps as well, because I did like Epps a lot in the Bayformers movies. Like, he was pretty entertaining, actually, yeah. And so, yeah. So, before I saw Peacemaker in the Suicide Squad, you know, which was my favourite role, this was my favourite role of him until I saw Peacemaker. I also like the addition of Jorge Lendenborg Jr. as Mimo. Mimo was a great sidekick to Charlie. He was really great and pretty entertaining and funny as well. I really enjoyed Mimo. I also like the inclusion of John Ortiz as Dr. Powell, who is an agent of Sector 7. He was really great in his role. And I like how, you know, he saw through the Decepticons' evil plan and, you know, warned Burns before he unfortunately got killed. So, yeah. And I do also like him a lot as Braga in Fast and Furious 4 and 6 as well, guys. He's great in that role as a villain. But I think that's one of my favourite role, maybe, in terms of, like, being a hero sort of character. So, yeah. I also like the casting as well of, you know, Charlie's family. Like, for example, a big example is Jason Drucker as Otis, her brother, because Jason Drucker, I do unfortunately hate in his role as Greg Heffley in Die When We Keep a Wrong Call, as I called him in 2017, a year before this, but in this movie he redeemed himself because he was way more entertaining and way more tolerable, and pretty funny as well, and a pretty nice brother to her because he promised not to, you know, tell anyone about Bumblebee, you know, when he found out about Bumblebee, even though, you know, his mother saw through him. I did like, you know, Pamela Adlon as Sally, who is Charlie's mother, yeah, and Otis' mother, yeah. So, yeah. And Steven Schneider was also good as Ron, you know, Sally's fiance, so yeah. And I did also like Len Carey as Uncle Hank, who gives Charlie a Bumblebee, you know, who's in the junkyard, so yeah. And the other cast members of Set 7 were great, like, you know, Glenn Turman as General Whalen, so yeah. And Danny Bell, played by Edwin Hodge. We even got a brief appearance by Nick Pillar as Seymour Simmons, who was played by John Turturro in the Bayformers movies, like a younger version of him, so yeah. So that was kind of like a connection to Bayformers, but in a different universe, basically, so yeah. I mean, if we're going to have Transformers in the same different universes, you know, we could probably have humans in different universes as well, but, you know, much better, if you get what I mean, so yeah. I didn't mind the appearance by Simmons, so yeah. And when it comes to, there is unfortunately a character that I do think is a mean character, but, you know, really mean, but, you know, way better than, like, any of the Bully or any other villainous human characters before, which is the Bully, who, you know, is really mean to Charlie. So, yeah. Let me just remember who she's called. I think she was called, wait, who was it? I think she's called, Tina, I think, if I remember correctly, Tina. Because she was a very mean character, guys, you know, and, like, the part where she insulted Charlie and mentioned her father, you know, that was where she really crossed the line. So that's why I did love the revenge scenes where, you know, they trash her car. So, yeah. Like, the scene where Bumblebee, you know, fails to throw toilet paper at the house or the eggs and then he destroys her car was so hilarious. Like, whenever we watch a scene, guys, I can't stop laughing. It's so funny. Speaking of humour, guys, in my opinion, the comic relief for the movie was executed way better compared to Bayformers. Like, because I was laughing my head off because, you know, the night before I did this review, guys, I actually rewatched a movie to get it fresh in my mind, and yeah. The scenes which I found funny with cinema when I first saw this in 2018, you know, are still funny to this day for me. So, yeah. Absolutely hilarious, yeah. And way better executed comic relief because compared to Bayformers, thankfully this movie has no vulgar jokes, which I was happy about. So yeah, because those jokes in the movies I did not laugh at, but the jokes in this movie I did laugh at because they were actually executed way better, in my opinion. So yeah. Now, there is also some aspects of the movie I'd like to, you know, defend, being, you know, that some people criticise this movie primarily due to the absence of Megatron, the leader of the Decepticons, but to be honest, guys, you know, I personally don't mind his absence because, you know, guys, this is not a Transformers movie, it's a Bumblebee movie, you know, a spin-off about the Autobot Scout, you know, so I can understand why some Transformers may be absent, so yeah, because this is Bumblebee's movie, not a Transformers movie, you know. If it was a Transformers movie in the title, you know, like, which featured all the Transformers, and Megatron was in it. Yeah, I would understand how people would feel, but this is not a Transformers movie, it's a Bumblebee movie, you know? So that's why I don't mind Megatron being absent, so yeah. Yeah, I personally don't mind that, and also, when it comes to Blitzwing, guys, you know, sure, he does get killed early in the movie, but to be honest, guys, in my opinion, he had his death coming, because, you know, he was really a really nasty Decepticon, because, you know, he's responsible for Bumblebee losing his voice, so yeah. And damaging his memory core, but, you know, still, you know, in my opinion, he had his death coming. So yeah, that was very, you know, satisfying when Bumblebee got his revenge on him by using one of his own missiles to kill him, so yeah, very satisfying. And also, what I also love, guys, is how it has so many homages to the Generation 1 cartoon, which I loved when I was a kid, but only the first 2 seasons, not the movie of third and fourth season, because I don't like them, but yeah. Like, for example, I love the redesigns for Transformers, like, especially Bumblebee, because he's based on the Volkswagen Beetle from G1, which I personally do like, guys, a bit more than the Camaro from Bayformers. And I especially loved Optimus's redesign as well, where he looks more like G1 as well. I loved his redesign. It's probably my favourite Optimus Prime design ever, guys, to be honest, so yeah. I did also love the designs for Decepticons as well, like Soundwave and Shockwave. They both look really awesome. And also for the other Transformers, like, who appear briefly, like, you know, the other robots, and also Starscream and Shockwave as well. Like, in his one cameo scene where he says one line, Shockwave, in my opinion, was way better than Dark and Moon, where he was, you know, very poorly characterized, in my opinion, so yeah. And I also love how a movie, you know, has a bit of a homage to E.T. the Extraterrestrial, because I think the relationship between Charlie and Bumblebee is very similar to E.T. in my opinion. You know, E.T. and Elliot. You know, very similar, so yeah. You know, very similar in terms of, you know, how they're bonding and, you know, becoming friends, so yeah. I also as well did love Dario Marinelli's music. It was really great. I loved his music, so yeah. Like, in my opinion, the fan service for the movie was way better compared to Bayformers. You know, I love the homages to G1. We even got, you know, a nice reference to Stan Bush's song, The Touch, which was a great Transformers song, one of my favourites. We got it playing briefly. Nice little homage to it. Like, it made me really happy. Because, as a fun fact, guys, the day this review goes up is actually the 3-year anniversary of me first seeing the movie at cinema for the first time, so which is pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah. So I first saw this on the 29th of December 2018, so yeah, pretty cool. And yeah. And the story, in my opinion, was also way better compared to, you know, Bayformers, you know, because like I said, there's you know, way more likeable and human characters who are far more tolerable, you know, and the bully, you know, Tina was a way better bully compared to Troy from the first movie by Michael Bay. Because at least, you know, she got her comeuppance. I don't think Troy got his comeuppance, but she did, which was very satisfying for me. You know, I love that. You know, she got what she deserved, so yeah. And it was really funny how she cried for her mother when she saw her car being trashed. That was brilliant. And the emotional weight was also executed really well. Like, the scene where, you know, Bumblebee appears to have been killed by Shatter and Dropkick. The scene where Charlie revives him was, you know, it was pretty sad. And the music also really helped to make it a sad scene, because it was very powerful music. And, yeah, she was able to bring him back to life, yeah. You know, very, very emotional scene, yeah. And, plus, the scene as well where Bumblebee enters like a rage and he fights for humans was also a really cool moment, and yeah. I liked how his eyes turned red as well, guys, because I think due to the anger he saw when, you know, when Charlie was being dragged away and he was being dragged away, it temporarily made him evil, so yeah. He went on a rampage, but luckily Charlie stopped him from going to a point of no return by convincing him not to continue hurting the humans, so yeah. And thankfully, you know, Burns realised that Bumblebee is not a villain, so yeah. And the final act of the movie was also really great, where, you know, Bumblebee defeats Shatter and Dropkick. It was really great, so yeah. And, I mean, the thing is, you know, Shatter gets shattered, guys, so yeah. Her namesake, so yeah. I bet she lived up to her name, didn't she? And plus, Dropkick also blows up as well, which was pretty cool. And yeah. And the ending as well, I did also love, because, you know, I mean, I had a feeling that, you know, Charlie and Bumblebee would have to go their separate ways, because Bumblebee has a greater purpose, so yeah, and Charlie has to, you know, go back to her family, so yeah. So that's why I can tolerate Charlie not coming back in Rise of Beasts, the sequel to this, because I think her story has perfectly been completed with this movie, so yeah. And I love as well how the movie ended with Charlie repairing her father's car as well, that she was working on before he died, because her father died, so yeah. And she was able to repair it, and then she goes for a drive. That was a perfect end to her story, in my opinion. And I also love how Bumblebee's final scene in the movie, where he takes on the form of a Camaro, I love how he reunites with Optimus, and they watch the Autobots arriving to Earth in their pods. So yeah, you know, that was a real great moment because it proved that this movie is not connected to Bayformers, guys, which I was very happy about. So yeah, because you know, when I first saw the movie, I was expecting, you know, it to be setting up the 2007 movie, but it didn't, because Optimus was already on Earth in this movie compared to the 2007 movie where he was already flying to Earth in his pod with the Autobots. So yeah, it was a great ending, and yeah, and like I said, in my opinion, it perfectly closed Charlie's story, you know, where she returns to her family and Mimo. So yeah, and you know, and she repairs the car that she and her father have been working on, so, and she goes for a drive. So yeah, like, I think she did her father proud, yeah. And I love how there's also, you know, a bit of, you know, parallels where at the start of the movie we see a video of her and her father where she's diving into a pool, and then she does it later to save Bumblebee, which was, you know, a nice little parallel. Yeah, I did love that very much. It was really great. And when it comes to music, guys, if you guys, you know, stay behind for the credits, you know, when you want to watch the credits, you know, you'll hear a song called Back to Life, which is actually sung by Haley Steinfeld herself, guys. She did the music because she's actually a singer as well as an actress. So yeah, and you know, it was really great to listen to when I first saw it. It's one of the best songs ever, in my opinion, and probably my favourite credit music of Transformers when it comes to, you know, singing. You know, even though I do also love, you know, like Linkin Park and Imagine Dragons' music, and also the song from the last night's credits, yeah, called Torches, if I remember correctly, which was, you know, a pretty decent song, even though I did not like the last night movie at all. So yeah, I think it was by X Ambassadors, yeah. Her song, you know, Haley's song Back to Life was my favourite, so yeah, I did love that music. And yeah, so guys, if you're wondering why I give this movie out of 10, then just like in my ranking that I did last year for the Transformers movies, I give this movie to this day a flat out 10 out of 10. Because it's my favourite movie in the Transformers franchise, guys. And in my opinion, Travis Knight should have directed all the movies before. I think he'd have done a way better job than Michael Bay, who thankfully did not direct this movie. He worked as a producer instead, which is what he should do. So yeah. So I'm looking forward to Rise of the Beast, guys, coming in 2023. But yeah, I'm hoping that, you know, it'll be, I don't know if it'll be good as Bumblebee or not, or maybe even better. Who knows? I'll have to find out when I see this movie, you know, in 2023. So guys, this is me reviewing Bumblebee, my first Transformers movie. So you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also be sure to leave in the comments what you guys thought of this review. Also what you think of Bumblebee, if you send us your thoughts are on it. Thank you for reviewing these movies with me, X-Lays. It's been a pleasure to review these with you. So yeah. Also be sure to join the team, find my pressing subscribe for videos going in the future. If you'd like to be a member, you can press join if you use a piece of laptop. You can link in the description. And till all are one.